Yep. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our workshop, Wednesday, January 17th. We have a few bits of business, and then we are conducting interviews for the planning board. First, any announcements? Christmas trees. Jeff, what's the update on Christmas trees?
I've not heard back from Roy William.
So I know that there are some folks who missed Christmas tree pickup. We've asked for another day for tree pickup. If you do still have your tree at home, we could ask you to not put it on the sidewalk, to tuck it somewhere secure. It's with these winds, they're the ones that are being left out are blowing around and becoming tripping hazards. As soon as we know about an additional tree pickup day, we'll put that out on social media and on the website.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
Also, villagers should not contact the highway department to request their
Yes.
trees picked up because they don't do that anymore. That's royal, so we'll be working on that.
Thank you, Eliza.
An announcement.
Go ahead.
We are soliciting members for the Cold Spring Climate Smart Task Force. So join us to help shift Cold Spring to clean energy and address climate impacts, help us figure out grants and how to spend them. And it's part of the Phillipstown Task Force. So if you're interested, you can contact me, trustee.bozy@coldspringnewyork.gov.
NY.
coldspringny.gov. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, on to board business. I would like to make a motion to appoint Kate Van Voorhees to the HDRB. I met with Kate last Friday. She is fantastic. She is a trained architect and has great sensitivity toward maintaining historic districts as living places. I'm very excited. I think she's going to bring a lot of capacity to that board. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is a resolution recognizing correcting a drafting error in the zoning code. So as we reviewed chapter 134, we knew that there would be places where we would find errors. This was actually something that was correct until the very last version, relating to the height of buildings on Main Street. The text reads 1.5 stories, and it should have read 2.5 stories, and it did until nearly the final version. We have a letter from the consulting planner who sort of tracked back where the error had happened and documented the intention of the ad hoc working group. We did supply Ted's letter to all the members of the ad hoc group, and they agreed that his correction is reflective of the thinking of the committee and an appropriate modification. So the way the village attorney has recommended that we address this is, as the code update, as the new code is used, and it's about to have, we have a couple of applications coming in where it will be very much part of the action. We may find other things. He recommends that we address the modification as a resolution here and compile it, and then on the 12-month mark of the zoning code, make any text changes at once with a public hearing. So basically, this resolution confirms the intent, and then a public hearing will modify the text after a year. Does that make sense?
And I'm sorry if you said this. So the planning board can proceed with a 2.5 stories
Yes.
intent.
Yeah.
And this is sufficient.
Planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning. Okay.
So this is a resolution that needs to get read into the record. Laura, would you like to do that?
Sure. Resolution of the village board of trustees of the village of Cold Spring recognizing a drafting error in the village of Cold Spring zoning code. Whereas the village of Cold Spring adopted an amendment to the zoning code in June 2023, and whereas the zoning amendments involve substantive and organizational changes to many sections of the zoning code, whereas the zoning amendments were adopted after extensive public review and comment while the public hearing was open, which resulted in numerous drafts being prepared. And whereas it was brought to the attention of the Board of Trustees that there is an apparent typographical error in 134.6J of the zoning code, such that buildings in the B1 zoning district are purported to be limited to 1.5 stories. Whereas the village's planning consultant by letter addressed the Board of Trustees and the village's code update committee dated January 10, 2024, confirm that this is in fact a typographical error, and the zoning code was intended to reflect that buildings in the B1 zoning district are limited to 2.5 stories, as was the case in earlier drafts of the zoning amendment. And whereas the Board of Trustees recognizes that this typo may inadvertently affect buildings and planning applications in the village before the zoning code can be formally amended and the typo corrected. And whereas the Board of Trustees intends to remedy the typo in the interim by formally recognizing the buildings in the B1 zoning district should be limited to 2.5 stories, as was originally intended, not 1.5 stories. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that buildings in the B1 zoning district should be limited to 1.5 stories as currently written in 134.6J of the zoning code, but rather should not be limited to 1.5 stories, but rather 2.5 stories as was intended. Second.
Would you like to offer a second?
Yes,
Oh, Laura was the,
Second.
there we go, Eliza. Any further discussion before vote? Okay, all in favor?
Roll
What's
call.
the matter? Oh, roll call vote, sorry.
Mayor Foley?
Yes.
Don't steal my one thing.
Sorry, don't steal your thunder. Aye.
Deputy Mayor Woods. Trustee Starbuck.
Aye.
Trustee Bowsy.
Aye.
Trustee Freimuck.
Aye.
Passes on the state by a vote of 5.
Thank you. Very well done on the roll call. Okay, minutes. And it said 1/3/24. Any requested edits? Comments, concerns? Let's make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to approve the minutes of 1/3/24.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, talk to us about bills, someone.
I make a motion to approve batch 7,193 for the amount of $165,385.51.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for reviewing the bills, Eliza and Aaron. Okay, and so now we'll move into interviews. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word interview. Interviews for planning board candidates. This portion is an executive session, so we'll be turning off the recording on Zoom and asking the public to leave the room. We will reconvene at the end. There will not be any action taken in the executive session, but you're welcome to rejoin us after if you'd like. Anything else that needs to be stated?
No, just a motion.
I make a motion to enter executive session at 7:08. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Walter. Good night, MJ. Okay. Okay. It is 8:40. I would like to make a motion to come out of executive session. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to add an agenda item, the appointment of members to planning board. Get a second. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to appoint 3 members of the planning board this evening, and we will work with the clerk to figure out what terms correspond. But I make a motion to appoint Henry Feldman, Hillary Hart, and Kevin McCrory to the planning board. Second. Any discussion?
Can we do them separately?
You can if you'd like. So I will modify my motion to nominate Kevin McCrory to a position to the planning board. Second.
For how long?
We have to figure out the terms.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I think that information we should have before we vote.
How long the term is?
Yeah.
Okay, and get it. Thank you. like the middle of the night. I don't know why today. It's been lighter so much longer.
Official water bottle. Yeah, official.
You look really
Does the
good.
water taste official?
Officially Cold Spring water.
Nice.
We could sell
Is it cold?
Mm-hmm.
it.
Came right out of the cold spring. My water bottle.
Like George Washington.
This is our new ad campaign. Is George Washington opens one of the water bottles. It's cold.
And I slept here. Maybe like 700 Facebook posts about this conversation.
Sorry. I hope they find it very interesting.
We're just waiting in between.
The total number of volunteers for the boards.
There's 5 on each standing board. Planning, zoning, HDRB, rec, tree advisory board. Well, there's a lot of terms. Thank you. So, oops, I'm looking at the zoning board. Hang on a second. So Jesse and Ben are already there. Okay, so there are 3 terms that, Laura Eldon has asked, first of all, Laura Eldon has asked to move to the alternate position. Which is available under the code. We do not have to have, an alternate in the position. How do folks feel about Lara's request? I feel that with a full board, I don't see the value in having an alternate. You know, I don't see the value of having someone drop in and out.
Right, just to fill the quorum.
You can use it to fill quorum, but I get concerned about alternates being knowledgeable of an application as it's going forward.
Going through the
Yeah.
process and jumping in
Yeah,
without going through it.
my inclination would be to not fill the alternate position that's allowable by the code. That would be my motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So now.
So- What do you do? So you're removing Lara or from,
She had asked to shift to alternate. So now her term, which would have ended 12/2024, becomes the 12/2029 position. Right, expiring in 2029. That's because if. See what I'm saying? Because the replacement of that position begins as of 1/2020.
yeah, but it's two. It would still go through to 2024. This doesn't expire until the end of this year.
At the end of this year, sorry, of course.
Okay, so.
Okay, so my head is in 2023.
It just
Okay.
doesn't like 11.5 months.
So there's one position that is a 1-year position. And that is the position now vacated by Lara Eldon. And for that position, I make a motion to appoint Henry Feldman. May I have a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
One,
You're going faster than I can write.
So
So it was Kathleen made the motion.
Yep. Tweak
Tweak
seconded
seconded.
and
So it was 4-1.
4-1.
for a 1-year term.
Yes, well, the completion
The
of, completion of Lara Eldon's term. And the next, is to fill the vacant position, term ending 12/2025. And I would make a motion to appoint Hillary Hart to that position.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and the last is the vacant term expiring in 2026. And I would make a motion to appoint Kevin McGrory to that position. Eliza seconds, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so now we have a planning board at full complement. Chair Jessica Charles, Ben Chia, Kevin McGrory, Hillary Hart, and Linda Feldman. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you for figuring out. Second, all in favor?
Aye.